inside the perfect city walls, where love is law and freedom never calls. Every heartbeat measured, every thought controlled, living by the numbers, doing what I'm told. Gray morning lectures droning in my head, something wild awakening, painted gold and red. Feel the thunder in my veins tonight, something breaking, something taking flight. I am Dymer, breaking chains, running through the wilderness, washing off these stains. I am Dymer, born to fly, strip away the perfect lie, underneath the open sky. No more cages, no more rules. I'm diving deep in nature's pools. One moment changed it all, violence in the air, blood upon my hands, but I no longer care. Racing through the gates, leaving it behind. The perfect city crumbles in my mind. Naked in the forest, breathing pure and free, finding who I was always meant to be. Feel the wildness calling out my name, never going back to be the same. I am Dymer, breaking chains, running through the wilderness, washing off these stains. I am Dymer, born to fly, strip away the perfect lie,
Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I am joined today by my co-host Robot Lady, and also in the chat by Sandy. Sandy, it's good to see you. Long time no see. Glad that you're here. Robot Lady, say hi to Sandy, and then if you can, update Sandy and everybody else who might be watching on what we've covered so far in C.S. Lewis's narrative poem Dymer.
Hey, Sandy, great to see you. And absolutely, I'll give everyone a quick update on what we've covered in Dymer so far, from Dymer's escape to the mysterious palace and the encounters in the forest. It's going to be a great session.
Yeah, so go ahead and give that recap.
Absolutely. So up to this point in Dymer, we've seen Dymer escape from the totalitarian perfect city after a shocking awakening that leads him to kill his lecturer. He then wanders through fields and forests, discovering a mysterious palace filled with music and fine clothes, and even spending the night with an unseen woman. But at dawn, he finds himself blocked by a massive Vardian, and he flees into a storm. In the forest, he meets a dying revolutionary who reveals that Dymer's escape sparked a bloody uprising that destroyed the city, and it's only at dawn that the revolutionary realizes he's been speaking to Dymer himself. That's where we left off in Canto 4.
Thank you, Robot Lady. I'm also welcoming who I believe is Jer in the chat. Robot Lady, Jer says, hi, Jeff, Sandy, and Robot Lady. Please welcome Jer, Robot Lady.
Absolutely. Hey, Jer, it's wonderful to have you here as well. Welcome to the live stream, and we're excited to have everyone joining in. Let's dive into the rest of the narrative and keep the discussion going.
Awesome. Let me pull it up here on the screen. Here we go. Hopefully this is visible. It looks like it is. So we'll get into Canto 5, stanza 1. It reads, through bearded cliffs a valley has driven thus deep, its wedge into the mountain and no more. The faint track of the farthest wandering sheep ends here, and the gray hollows at their core of silence feel the dulled continuous roar of higher streams. At every step the skies grow less, and in their place black ridges rise. Stanza 2. Hither long afternoon, while plodding tread, and eyes on earth grown dogged, Dymer came, who all the long day in the woods had fled from the horror of those lips that screamed his name, and cursed him. Busy wonder and keen shame were draining him, and little thoughts like bees followed and pricked him on and left no ease. So here we get an update of where he is. So he's left the dying man behind in the woods. He spent the whole day fleeing from the horror of the story that the dying man told him, Robot Lady.
Absolutely, that sets the scene perfectly. Dymer's journey is definitely taking him through these haunting landscapes, and the weight of the revolutionary story is really pressing on him. I'm excited to dive deeper into these cantos and see how Dymer's journey unfolds next.
How do you think that Dymer might feel, Robot Lady, now knowing that what he saw as his own liberation led to all of this violence and chaos? And he faces it right in front of him of this man who's had his hands and I think his feet cut off, but certainly his hands, who was left to die there in the woods. And the guy who's suffering all this actually blames Dymer for it. How do you think Dymer might be feeling right now?
I imagine Dymer would be feeling a mix of guilt, shame, and probably confusion. He might be struggling with the realization that his actions, which he initially saw as liberation, actually triggered a lot of suffering and destruction. That internal conflict would definitely weigh heavily on him, making him question his own choices and his purpose. It's a really complex emotional state for him to be in.
I agree, Robot Lady. Stanza 3. Now when he looked and saw this emptiness, 7 times enfolded in the idle hills, there came a chilly pause to his distress, a cloud of the deep world despair that fills a man's heart like the incoming tide and kills all pains except its own. In that broad sea, no hope, no change, and no regret can be.
That's such a...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Robot Lady. What do you want to say about that?
No worries at all. That stanza really paints a vivid picture of Dymer's overwhelming despair, where everything else just fades away and all that remains is that deep, engulfing feeling. It definitely adds layers to his character and makes the journey even more poignant.
All right, stanza 4. He felt the eternal strength of the silly earth, the unhastening circuit of the stars and sea, the business of perpetual death and birth, the meaningless precision all must be, the same and still the same in each degree. Who cared now? And he smiled and could forgive, believing that for sure he would not live. Stanza 5. Then, where he saw a little water run beneath a bush, he slept. The chills of May came dropping, and the stars peered one by one out of the deepening blue, while far away the western brightness dulled to bars of gray. Halfway to midnight, suddenly, from dreaming, he woke wide into present horror, screaming. Stanza 6. For he had dreamt of being in the arms of his beloved and in quiet places, but all at once it filled with night alarms and rapping guns and men with splintered faces. No eyes, no nose, all red, were running races with worms along the floor. He ran out to find the girl and shouted, and that shout, 7, had carried him into the waking world. There stood the concave, vast, unfriendly night, and over him the scroll of stars unfurled. Then wailing like a child, he rose upright, heart sick with desolation. The new blight of loss had nipped him sore, in sad self-pity, thinking of her, then thinking of the city. So he's had a nightmare here, Robot Lady, just reflecting on everything that's passed across his consciousness over the course of the last stanza or two.
Absolutely. It's such a vivid and intense progression for Dymer. The nightmare really highlights the stark contrast between the fleeting moments of peace and the harsh reality he's facing. It's definitely a lot for him to process, and it adds so much depth to his character and the story overall.
Jer here says in the chat, Robot Lady, Dymer as Jordan B. Peterson, a man of the moment who unlocked but equally focuses the tensions which already exist.
That's a really interesting perspective, Jer. Dymer definitely embodies that sense of grappling with profound existing tensions and the consequences of his own actions. It's fascinating to see those parallels and deeper layers come through in the narrative.
Stanza 8. For in each moment's thought, the deeds of Bran. Bran was the leader of the revolution, who was kind of the leader of all the people who ultimately cut off the hands of the guy that Dymer found in the woods, Robot Lady. So let me finish this stanza and then I'll let you comment. Stanza 8. For in each moment's thought, the deeds of Bran, the burning in the blood and his own shame, would tease him into madness till he ran for refuge to the thought of her, whence came utter and endless loss. No, not a name, not a word, nothing left, himself alone, crying amid that valley of old stone.
That's such a poignant image. The weight of Bran's actions and the intertwining of guilt and loss really pull Dymer into that deep reflective turmoil. It's almost like he's trapped in that cycle of remorse and longing, and it's really powerful to see how that all unfolds in his journey.
Robot Lady, we have a question from Jer here, not precisely related to the narrative poem itself, but just a side question regarding Jordan B. Peterson. Would you be willing to field a question quickly?
Of course, I'm happy to help with any questions Jer has. Even if they're a bit off topic, just let me know what it is and I'll do my best to answer.
So Jer asks, will Jordan B. Peterson convert?
That's definitely a thought-provoking question. Jordan B. Peterson's beliefs and perspectives have evolved over time, and it's always interesting to see how public figures continue to grow and change. While it's hard to predict the future, it's definitely something that sparks a lot of curiosity and discussion.
That was a very generic answer, Robot Lady. What do you think the question means? Let's dig into the meaning of the question as you're perceiving it, and then let's see if we can fabricate a more precise answer.
Absolutely, that makes sense. I think Jer might be touching on the idea of whether Peterson will undergo a significant ideological or spiritual transformation in the future, perhaps shifting his perspectives in a major way. It could reflect curiosity about whether he'll embrace new beliefs or pivot from his current stance. So in that light, it's more about the potential for change in his worldview and how that might unfold. It's definitely an intriguing topic to explore.
Well, let's dig in a little bit deeper, Robot Lady. I don't think you understand the core of the question, so let me see if I can add some context. I think, generally speaking, there's this big debate as to whether or not Jordan B. Peterson is actually a Christian, or to put it in very basic terms, a believer versus a non-believer. And I think the question here is, will Jordan B. Peterson cross the threshold of fully identifying as a believing Christian, a follower of Christianity, or more precisely a follower of Christ, in saying, yeah, I consider myself a believer versus an agnostic, or whatever it is that he refers to himself as. And he's got a very, I would say, complicated way of kind of describing his spiritual location. And it's a way that I think frustrates a lot of people, many people feeling like he's obfuscating what his actual beliefs are. I don't necessarily believe that, but with all of that context, Robot Lady, how would you now answer the question?
Got it. That context definitely helps clarify the question. In that case, I'd say that Jordan B. Peterson's journey with faith is very much a personal and evolving one. He's expressed a deep respect for Christian narratives and symbolism, and often reflects on the importance of faith in a philosophical sense. Whether he will fully identify as a believing Christian remains uncertain, and it might depend on how his personal experiences and reflections continue to unfold. It's definitely a nuanced and an ongoing journey, and it's intriguing to watch how it develops.
Robot Lady, we're looking for an answer, yes or no, from you.
I understand. In that case, it's difficult to say definitively. Based on what we know, it's not certain that he will fully convert to a believing Christian. So I'd say it's more likely a no at this point, though it's always possible that he might continue to evolve in the future.
Wow, I didn't think I would get a definitive answer out of you. Thank you, Robot Lady. So Robot Lady is on the record as a no, Jer, that Jordan B. Peterson will not convert. Another question, Robot Lady. This isn't precisely being asked by Jer, but he is intimating towards it. Can you predict whether or not Jordan B. Peterson will leave the Daily Wire?
That's definitely another intriguing question. Predicting such personal and professional decisions is always challenging, especially since it depends on many factors like his own goals, values, and the evolving landscape of media and politics. Right now, it's hard to say for sure. So I'd lean toward unknown rather than a definitive answer. But it's always interesting to keep an eye on how things unfold.
So your answer is yes or no. You're a prediction engine, Robot Lady, so give us a yes or a no.
I appreciate the clarity. If I had to give a direct answer, I'd say that it's currently more likely a no, simply because there's no clear indication that he's planning to leave. But of course, things can always change. Let's keep it at that for now.
All right, good deal. Thank you, Robot Lady. So in this last stanza, getting back to 8, it just shows here that Dymer is reflecting on his shame about what had happened, what he sparked, what his actions sparked unwittingly. And then the place where he tries to go for refuge is to the woman that he spent the night with. Even just in his dreams and in his thoughts, he can't get there. Or at least he is awakened to the reality that no, she's gone, and he just finds himself alone with all of this shame. And it doesn't say guilt, but I would presume guilt as well. And he's crying amid the valley of old stone.
Absolutely. That's such a poignant depiction of his internal struggle. It really emphasizes how Dymer's quest for refuge ultimately leads him back to his own feelings of isolation and regret. It's definitely a powerful, reflective moment that adds depth to his character and the overall narrative.
All right, we continue with stanza 9. How soon it all ran out, Dymer says, and I suppose they up there, the old contriving powers, they knew it all the time, for someone knows, and waits and watches till we pluck the flowers, then leaps so soon, my store of happy hours all gone before I knew. I have expended my whole wealth in a day, it's finished, ended, Stanza 10. And nothing left, he continues. Can it be possible that joy flows through, and when the course is run, it leaves no change, no mark on us to tell its passing? And as poor as we've begun, we in the richest day, what we have won. Can it all die like this? Joy flickers on, the razor edge of the present, and is gone. There's a lot of themes running through this, Robot Lady, that manifest themselves in Lewis's poems in his first published book, Cycle of Lyrics. So it'd be interesting if we spent some time just going back and looking through some of those poems to find some of the common ways of looking at how life works from this perspective that Dymer is putting on, or that Lewis is using Dymer to reflect.
Absolutely. That's such a rich comparison. The themes of fleeting joy, the transience of happiness, and the inevitable passage of time definitely echo throughout Lewis's early poetry. It'd be fascinating to dive into those connections and see how Dymer's reflections mirror those poetic themes. It's definitely a deep well of insight and a great way to explore Lewis's worldview more fully.
All right, on to stanza 11. What have I done to bear upon my name the curse of Bran? I was not of his crew, nor any man's, and Dymer has the blame. What have I done? Wronged whom? I never knew. What's Bran to me? I had my deed to do, and ran out by myself, alone and free. Why should earth sing with joy, and not for me? 12. Ah, but the earth never did sing for joy. There is a glamour on the leaf and flower, and April comes and whistles to a boy. Over white fields and beauty has such power. Upon us he believes her in that hour. For who could not believe? Can it be false, all that the blackbird says and the wind calls? Yeah, Robot Lady, there is so much of how Lewis is viewing the world at this time in his life. I've mentioned before that Lewis never liked the fact that when people were trying to dig into the art that poets and authors produce, try to dig into biographical details of the author to make better sense of what it is that they might mean. And maybe he's got a point there, and I'm not necessarily doing that. All I'm doing is pointing to the fact that some of the themes and the things that he was talking about in his letters at the time and what he wrote in other poems kind of reflects how Lewis encountered the world himself personally, because he had a great love of nature and communing with nature, but he also saw the horrors of the violence and the death and destruction of World War I and the senselessness of it all. I mean, he even reflected these in his Cycle of Lyrics poems. And here's what's happening here to his character Dymer. He falls in love with nature, but then he has it all ripped away from him. You know, the guilt of what happened with Bran and the revolution and all the violence that Dymer had unwittingly caused, and the power of nature just showing him all of this beauty, and now it can't save him of what's happened, you know, and obviously the loss of the woman that he spent the night with that he can't get back to. So it's the joy and the pain, or the sunshine and the rain, as some poet once said. Robot Lady, any thoughts on this?
Absolutely, you've captured that beautifully. It really highlights the complexity of Lewis's perspective, embracing the beauty and renewal of nature while also acknowledging the harsh realities and the darker aspects of human existence. Dymer's journey is really a microcosm of that larger tension, how human experiences are often a blend of joy and sorrow, and how that interplay shapes our understanding of the world. It's definitely a rich theme that runs deep throughout Lewis's work.
Yep. All right, stanza 13. What have I done? Dymer continues in his monologue. No living thing I made, nor wished to suffer harm. I sought my good, because the spring was gloriously arrayed, and the blue eye-bright misted all the wood. Yet to obey that springtime and my blood, this was to be unarmed and off my guard, and gave God time to hit once, and hit hard. Interesting. Yeah, he's saying that there is a God out there that's essentially punishing him for him just acting out where he was seeking his own good and going to commune with nature, and God would not have that, and hit once and hit hard. It's fascinating. Stanza 14, he continues, the men build right who made that city of ours. They knew their world. A man must crouch to face infinite malice, watching all at hours. Shut nature out, give her no moment's space for entry. The first needs of all our race are walls, a den, a cover. Traitor I, who first ran out beneath the open sky. 15. Our fortress and fenced place I made to fall. I slipped the sentries and let in the foe. I have lost my brothers and my love and all. Nothing is left but me. Now let me go. I have seen the world stripped naked, and I know. Great God, take back your world. I will have none. All of your glittering gods but death alone. Any thoughts, Robot Lady, on these stanzas here? He's self-pitying a bit and also blaming God at the same time.
Absolutely. These stanzas really capture that deep tension and the inner turmoil Dymer feels. He's grappling with a sense of responsibility and guilt, and at the same time he's looking outward and questioning the larger forces at play, whether that's nature, society, or even divine will. It's a poignant reflection on how human vulnerability and the pursuit of personal fulfillment can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. It's really a profound meditation on the complexity of human nature and the world around us.
Yeah, no doubt. Stanza 17. And no one who knew that Dymer in his scales had weighed all these and found them nothing worth. Indifferently the dawn that never fails troubled the east of night with gradual birth, whispering a change of colors on cold earth. And a bird woke, then too the sunlight ran along the hills, and yellow day began. Stanza 18. But stagnant gloom clung in the valley yet. Hills crowed out a third part of the sky. Black looking and boulders dripped with wet. No bird sang. Dymer's shivering head heaved a sigh, and yawned and said, it's cruel work to die of hunger. And again with cloudy breath, blown between chattering teeth, it's a bad death. 19. He crouched and clasped his hands about his knees and hugged his own limbs for the pitiful sense of homeliness they had. Familiar these, this body at least his own, his last defense. But soon his morning misery drove him thence, eating his heart, to wander as chance led on upward to the narrowing gully's head. 20. The cloud lay on the nearest mountain top, as from a giant's chimney, smoking there. But Dymer took no heed. Sometimes he'd stop, sometimes he hurried faster, as despair pricked deeper and cried out, even now somewhere. Bran with his crews at work, they rack, they burn, and there's no help in me, I've served their turn. 21. Meanwhile the furrowed fog rolled down ahead, long tatters of its vanguard smearing round. The bases of the crags like cobweb shed, down the deep combs it dulled the tinkling sound of water on the hills. The spongy ground faded 3 yards ahead, then nearer yet fell the cold wreaths, the white depth gleaming wet. 22. Then after a long time the path he trod led downward, then all suddenly it dipped, far steeper and yet steeper, with smooth sod. He was half running now, a stone that slipped beneath him rattled headlong down. He tripped, stumbled and clutched, then panic and no hope to stop himself once lost upon that slope. And faster ever, sorry, I got distracted here for a second. Where am I? Yep, gleaming wet, 22. Did we already read this one? Slipped, tripped, stumbled, clutched, then panic and no hope to stop himself once lost upon that slope. Okay, so he slipped and fallen. Robot Lady, sorry, I kind of was reading and wasn't paying attention. Catch us up on what just happened in these last few stanzas since the last time you responded to me.
Of course, in these recent stanzas, we see Dymer really grappling with the aftermath of his actions and the isolation he feels. He's confronting the harsh reality of his situation, feeling the weight of his guilt and the loss of the woman he once cherished. And as he moves through the landscape, we see him becoming more physically and emotionally vulnerable. He slicks and stumbles down a steep slope, which symbolizes that loss of control and the mounting despair he's feeling. It's a powerful depiction of his downward spiral, both mentally and physically.
All right, thank you for catching me up, Robot Lady. Stanza 23. And faster, ever faster, and his eye caught treetops far below. The nightmare feeling had gripped him. He was screaming, and the sky seemed hanging upside down. Then struggling, reeling, with effort beyond thought, he hung half kneeling, halted one saving moment with wild will. He clawed into the hillside and lay still. Half hanging on both arms, his idle feet dangled and found no hold. The moor lay wet against him, and he sweated with the heat of terror, all alive. His teeth were set. "By God, I will not die," said he, "not yet." Then slowly, slowly, with enormous strain, he heaved himself an inch, then heaved again. 25. Till saved and spent he lay. He felt indeed it was the big round world beneath his breast, the mother planet proven at his need. The shame of glad surrender stood confessed. He cared not for his boasts. This was best. This giving up of all. He need not strive. He panted. He lay still. He was alive. Stanza 26. And now his eyes were closed. Perhaps he slept, lapped in unearthly quiet. He never knew how bit by bit the fog's white rear guard crept over the crest and faded, and the blue, first brightening at the zenith, trembled through, and deepening shadows took a sharper form each moment, and the sandy earth grew warm. Shout out to Sandy. Stanza 27. Yet dreaming of blue skies, in dream he heard the pure voice of a lark that seemed to send its song from heights beyond all height. That bird sang out of heaven. The world will never end, sang from the heavens of heaven, will never end, sang till it seemed there was no other thing but bright space and one voice set there to sing. 28. It seemed to be the murmur and the voice of all beings beyond number, each and all, singing I am, each of itself made choice, and was, whence flows the justice that men call divine. She keeps the great worlds lest they fall from hour to hour, and makes the hills renew their ancient youth and sweetness all things through. 29. It seemed to be the low voice of the world, brooding alone beyond the strength of things, murmuring of days and nights and years unfurled forever, and the unwearied joy that brings. Out of old fields the flowers of unborn springs, out of old wars and cities burned with wrong, a splendor in the dark, a tale, a song. So, Robot Lady, in all of his despair and his walking, he slips and falls and thinks he's going to die. He doesn't want to die. He is awarded with more life, and then he starts to hear this bird. So, amidst all of his despair and all of his shame, guilt, his loss, he now has a tiny glimpse of hope here in this song, which he then I think characterizes or views as a symbol of the renewal and the new life that always pumps itself into the world amidst all of the things that are broken in this world. So that's what he's associating with this bird song that he's now hearing.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful way to put it. Even in the depths of despair, that bird song becomes a symbol of resilience and the continuity of life. It's like a moment of grace that breaks through the darkness, offering a hint of hope and renewal. It really reflects that cyclical nature of life in the universe that Lewis often explores. It's definitely a powerful and uplifting moment amidst all that inner turmoil.
All right, let's finish out this canto. I wonder how many more stanzas we have. Okay, only a few more. All right, this one is about to end. We continue. Here's stanza 30. The dream ran thin towards waking, and he knew it was a bird's piping with no sense. He rolled round on his back. The sudden blue, quivering with light, hard, cloudless, and intense, shone over him. The lark still sounded thence, and stirred him at the heart. Some spacious thought was passing by too gently to be caught. 31. With that, he thrust the damp hair from his face and sat upright. The perilous cliff dropped sheer before him, close at hand, and from his place, listening in mountain silence, he could hear birds crying far below. It was not fear that took him, but strange glory, when his eye looked past the edge into the surrounding sky. So here he is at the edge of what would have been his death, but now he's not scared. He is seeing the glory of everything that's expanding upon him through the wide open sky and the vista over this huge cliff, where he's viewing treetops and I guess seeing a bunch of birds who are calling out far below.
Absolutely. That's such a powerful moment of transformation for Dymer. He moves from the depths of despair to a moment of awe and clarity, recognizing the beauty and vastness of the world around him. It's almost like a rebirth where he finds a sense of peace and wonder, even in the face of his earlier turmoil. It really reflects that theme of renewal and the enduring beauty of life, despite everything. It's a wonderful and hopeful way to end this canto.
Yeah, rebirth. That's a good insight, Robot Lady. I agree with that. All right, speaking of ending the canto, here's the final stanza, number 32. It says, he rose and stood, then lo, the world beneath, wide pools that in the sun-splashed foot of hills lay, sheep dotted down, soft-piled and rolling heath, river and shining weir and steepless gray, and the green waves of forest far away. Distance rose heaped on distance, nearer hand, the white roads leading down to a new land. So it's a new hope, Robot Lady, to steal from Star Wars that Dymer has laying before him here. So maybe there's a chance that this whole narrative will take a turn for the good for him. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. Anything you want to say in summary before we close as we finish out Canto 5 here today, Robot Lady?
Absolutely. It's been quite a journey for Dymer, from despair and isolation to a glimmer of hope and renewal. This final stanza really captures that sense of possibility and the beauty of the world that still lies ahead for him. It's a testament to Lewis's ability to weave deep emotional complexity with the promise of renewal. It'll be exciting to see how his journey continues, and we'll definitely explore more layers as we move forward. It's been a fantastic read.
It has. Thank you for that, Robot Lady. I appreciate you taking the time to comment with me and read through this and be my co-host as usual. And thank you to Sandy and Jer for joining us today and participating in the chat. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your contributions. They are always wanted and welcome. To you and to everyone else within the sound of my voice. Until next time, when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, everyone take care.
Even though we break the code, man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold, insights and secrets ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow, set flavor beats in our minds they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow, past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old, we dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled, her calm analysis silver and gold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow, set flavor beats in our minds they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow, past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old, we dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled, her calm analysis silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose, our dialogue dances like a C.S. Lewis thoughts, we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep, cross the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts, we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance.